Ethics and accountability, accelerated career paths for higher education. Definition of ethics and accountability. Ethics is a code that determines which actions one ought to take based on a standard of value. Accountability is the degree to which one takes action to enhance or enforce a value. There are three types of values: defined values, cultural values, and superficial values. Defined values, cultural values, and superficial values. If you have completed your school's pre-test exercise, you know the defined values espoused by your schools. Ethics and the values that back them answer the question of how a leader is going to conduct herself or himself to fulfill the mission of the area of responsibility and greater institution. Leaders need to know the definitions of non-stated cultural values and superficial values, and how these values might impact accountability in their school. Defined values are the explicitly stated values. As examples, here are the defined values of two organizations as stated on their websites. Red Deer College in Alberta, Canada, has as the core of its defined values learning. Supporting that are the values of accountability, excellence, integrity, inclusiveness, exploration, and community. Bradley University's College of Education and Health Sciences in Peoria, Illinois, has as its core values leadership, diversity, excellence, well-being, innovation, and collaboration. Definition of cultural values. Cultural values are like an iceberg. Most groups of people develop many cultural values implicitly. They don't make a list saying these are our cultural values. Above the surface, or visible, are behaviors. Below the surface, or hidden, are perceptions and attitudes, non-stated values, and beliefs. If a behavior is continually observed by a group, they'll begin to perceive it as adaptive or normal. Attitudes develop into, this is conventional behavior. The non-stated value toward the behavior becomes, this behavior is acceptable. Belief systems and actions will then support a non-stated value. Over time, it becomes a norm, a cultural value. If the cultural value is not in alignment with the explicit defined values, ethical accountability will adjust. The cultural value becomes more vital than defined values. If the cultural value is negative or harmful, dangerous consequences could ensue. Defined values are often undermined by cultural values. Defined values such as accountability, well-being, honesty are undermined by cultural values such as persona, reputation, and money. Examples of negative cultural values. Throughout history, we have seen defined values dwarfed or undermined by negative cultural values. As examples, here are several organizations that developed cultural values contrary to their defined values. They are identified here only because they are recent cases. Hundreds more exist. Department of Veterans Affairs. Widespread falsification of records to indicate faster service response time. Penn State University. A long-term cover-up of a coach sexually abusing boys. United States Naval Academy. Sexual abuse and rape of female students. University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Student athletes enrolled in non-existent classes. Definition of superficial values. Superficial values are a subset of cultural values. With the broad use of the internet and the social media, superficial values tend to cycle through cultural values with a high rate of speed. We might refer to them as pop culture values. Group forum discussion. With your team, identify and discuss at least one example of a leader whose behaviors may have been consistent with cultural values, but not consistent with the defined values or the positive cultural values of your organization. If you were mentoring this leader, what would you recommend they do? The science of ethics and accountability. Let's look into the science of ethics and accountability. For the past 30 years, Jim Kouzes and Barry Posner have studied the behaviors of leaders. The data in their book, The Leadership Challenge, has widely been the subject of empirical research testing its reliability and validity. It's the foundation of the following tools: the Leadership Practices Inventory and the Leadership Challenge Workshop. Individual exercise. Characteristics of an admired leader. What do you admire in a leader? For the next 10 minutes, either copy down the checklist on the next slide or download it from your assignment folder. Then, select the top 5 characteristics a leader must possess before you'd be willing to follow them. Leadership characteristics: ambitious, broad-minded, caring, competent, cooperative; courageous, dependable, determined, fair-minded, forward-looking; honest, imaginative, independent, inspiring, intelligent; loyal, mature, self-controlled, straightforward, supportive. Below are the survey results of approximately 100,000 respondents. As you review these, note the characteristics that over 50% of respondents require in order to be willing to follow a leader. 89% honest, 71% forward-looking, 69% competent, 69% inspiring, 47% intelligent, 42% fair-minded, 40% broad-minded, 35% supportive, 34% straightforward, 33% dependable, 28% cooperative, 24% determined, 23% imaginative, 21% ambitious, 20% courageous, 20% caring, 17% mature, 17% loyal, 8% self-controlled, 6% independent. Hundreds of thousands of people have taken this survey as part of the Leadership Challenge workshop. Below are the top 4 characteristics that are valid and reliable across industries, ethnicities, sex, religion, age, or region of the world. Consistently, approximately 89% of people surveyed choose honesty as the number 1 characteristic a person must possess before the respondent would be willing to follow. Characteristics of an admired leader. Here's your takeaway from this exercise. Conducting oneself honestly is the number 1 accountability behavior required of anyone who is in a formal or informal leadership role. Guest speaker Richard L. Kite, PhD. Dr. Rick Kite is director of the D.B. Reinhardt Institute for Ethics in Leadership and a professor of philosophy at Vertebo University in La Crosse, Wisconsin. He teaches a variety of ethics courses dealing with issues in business, healthcare, law, politics, the environment, art, and religion. Dr. Kite has published and lectured widely on topics related to justice, forgiveness, virtue, and the meaning of life. His most recent book, An Ethical Life, A Practical Guide to Ethical Decision-Making, was published by Anselm Academic in 2012. Before proceeding to the final project, please watch the 20-minute video lecture. Ethics and Accountability Final Project. Step 1. Write 2 or 3 sentences that summarize how your personal values align to your school's defined values. Step 2. Identify 3 actions you will take to demonstrate that you hold yourself accountable to one of your school's defined values. If you can't remember what they are, review your notes from the pretest. Ethics and accountability. You can now start to build an organization based on your school's defined values or positive cultural values and ethics in action. Understand your own value system and how it aligns to your school's. Remember that honesty is by far the #1 value that every leader must demonstrate continually. Show through your actions the defined values and positive cultural values that are important in your area of responsibility. Establish a network of peers who can help you through difficult ethical situations. And enjoy your journey. Hello, my name is Malati Marlene Shinazy. I'm the founder of Pacific Leadership Consultants. We have offices in California and Honolulu, Hawaii. My firm assists organizations from all sectors and industries create organizational cultures that are high energy and have high employee engagement. For over 20 years, I've been a certified facilitator of the Leadership Challenge workshop. The Leadership Challenge is the global gold standard leadership development process. I'm also an adjunct faculty for University of California, Santa Barbara Extension and University of Hawaii's Hilo Community College. Previously, I taught at De Anza Community College in Silicon Valley, California.